So you want to be a wild hunter. So you want to have a pet that's more than a pet. You want to have a pet that you can actually ride. Well, then you've come to the right class. In the beginner tab, we have Crystal Throw, which just allows you to throw a crystal at enemies. Infiltrate, which gives you Dark Sight and an increase in movement speed. Jaguar is getting ahead of itself. You can also get more recovery from potions. You can also capture enemies. However, I've already captured these guys. So if I use Call of the Hunter, I can then summon. I believe it does damage, but it's nothing crazy. Not worth using. And you can also teleport back to the Resistance hideout. Moving on to first job, you get Double Shot, which, as you can imagine, shoots 2 arrows. It's pretty fast. Oh, actually, I have booster on. So it's actually pretty fast, actually, like even without booster. Does 2 lines. And yeah, it's gonna be your first, your main mobbing skill first job. However, when you're riding on a Jaguar, every attack you do that involves the crossbow, like shooting, is increased by 2 times. So instead of only hitting 2 times, you now hit 4 times. And then we have Gravity Boots, which allows you to do a double jump, or triple jump, whatever, because jump, 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 anyway. So it allows you to flash jump, basically. And if you're on the Jaguar, you get a double one, and if you're off the Jaguar, you get a single one, which still goes pretty far. But you can only do it once. And then we have Jaguar Rider, which puts you on the Jaguar, gives you 50% knockback resistance, and increases your speed by 40 while you're riding. Summon Jaguar allows you to, instead of riding your Jaguar, have it fight alongside you. And it will do something called, it'll apply something called Another Bite, which is a debuff. As you can see, that enemy has it. And enemies that have Another Bite debuff on their head take an extra hit, well, depending on how many stacks, take an extra amount of damage. So if they don't have any, as you can see, it'll only take 2 lines. However, if they have another bite stack on their head and I use a crossbow skill, Another Bite will activate, making them take a certain amount of damage afterwards. So I'll go ahead and apply it to this guy. And you'll see like a bite animation appear on the enemy, and that means that they're taking the Another Bite damage. The amount of damage they take is relevant to how many stacks they have. So that one has a 3 stack of Another Bite. So when I attack them, they'll take 3 extra lines of damage from the bites. Next, and I guess your critical damage for your Jaguar is increased when he's summoned next to you. Next we have Swipe, which is your first Jaguar skill. You can see that it says Jaguar skill in orange on the skill description. And when you first attack with it, like if the enemy you're attacking doesn't have Another Bite debuff on it, then it'll activate the Another Bite debuff at 100% chance. Otherwise, if it already had it on it, like if I were to get this enemy attacked, and then it has Another Bite, it would only have a 30% chance to activate the second bite. Also, the Jaguar has a 15% chance to activate the debuff, like just standing still, like without using any skills. The skill also recovers 7% of your max HP when you use it. So, there we go, recovered a little bit of HP, but then I got hit, so it took it away. Next is a skill I don't really use, Jaguar Roar, or, sorry, Wild Lure, which when you use it, just makes it so that enemies will attack your Jaguar instead of you. I don't know, it only works for 5 seconds on bosses as well, so I don't really know why you would use this. The rest are passive. Jaguar Management. So if you don't have your Jaguar out at all, you can choose from any of the Jaguars that you've captured. I don't have Onyx one currently, but the 2 buffs that they give do not stack, so you don't get 20% buff duration. But as you can see, not all of them give you a buff, but the ones that do are definitely worth it. You don't actually get these buffs, well, Okay, so I think that you don't get these buffs until later on, maybe in the second or third job. But yeah, as you can see, they have buffs with them. And they all stack, except for the 2 that I mentioned. So moving on to second job. Why'd I put that there? We have Triple Shot, which, you guessed it, shoots 3 arrows. And if you're on your Jaguar, you do 6 lines. So you can see that this class's mobbing is going to be very good. You also get Dash and Slash, which you can use on or off the Jaguar. If you use it on the Jaguar, you just do a dash attack, which pushes back enemies. And if you use it off the Jaguar, he'll push enemies away, or whatever direction you're facing, and also apply another bite stack. If they already have it, then it's only an 80% chance to apply a second one. And of course 100% if they don't have another bite. And then we move on to Crossbow Mastery and Soul Arrow. This will make it so that you gain 20 attack and you're able to use skills without having to use arrows. Call of the Wild gives you and your party 10% attack and magic attack, and then it gives you 15% damage reduced, or you take 15% less damage, you have 15% avoidability, and your max MP goes up by 15%. I don't remember if everything goes to the party members, I just remember that it's really good for an attack buff. Final attack, when you attack, you just have a 40% chance to do another hit of damage. Another passive, Jaguar Mastery just gives you 50% knockback resistance and 20% HP, and Booster, which gives you +2 attack speed. Third job, you get Enduring Fire, and this actually does 5 hits, which means you get 10 hits on your Jaguar. So it's really nice. Look at that. Beautiful. You also get Sonic Roar, which is a Jaguar skill. So when you use it, he like explodes rocks in front of him. It's pretty interesting. And it has a 100% chance to activate the Another Bite debuff, unless it already has another bite on it, in which case it has a 40% chance to activate it again, or to activate another one. White Heat Rush, when you're on the Jaguar, launches you upwards. You can also use it after doing flash jumps, so you get more height. And then we have Hunting Assistant Unit, which is a summon that you can use every 8 seconds. It'll attack for 3 seconds, take 4 seconds to reload, and then start attacking again for 3 seconds. Feline Berserk gives you 20% attack power, 15 speed, attack speed +1, and a passive boost to your HP. Flurry gives you 40% chance to dodge an attack, and when you do dodge an attack, for the next 1 second, all of your attacks will be critical hits. Jaguar Link, here we go. So this will give you +3 crit rate and +2 crit damage, based on how many Jaguars you have. So since I have 6, I'm gaining, you can just multiply those by 6. And then I'm also gaining 10 attack power. The 10 attack doesn't really apply to how many Jaguars you have, you just get that. And then you have Backstep, which when you activate it, allows you to attack moving backwards. So that way, if a boss is in front of you, you don't have to, without it on, you have to turn around and end up not attacking it. But if you have it on, then you can just move back while still attacking the enemy. Very useful. It also works if you're off the Jaguar. So if I use it, then I'm able to move backwards and still face the same direction. Alright. Oops. So I think that's it for third job. Let's move on to fourth job. So in fourth job, you get Wild Arrow Blast. And it only does one... Oops. It only does one line, but it's rapid fire. So it's very good. Look at that. Oh, so nice. So this is your main bossing skill. Also your main mobbing skill. It's, also very good for mobbing. You do 2 lines, of course, when mobbing. Anything else I want to mention? No? Okay. So then you have Jaguar Soul, Jaguar Soul? Yeah. Which you, again, can only use when you're summoning him. And what it does is it binds enemies for 10 seconds, so they can't attack and they can't move. Drill Salvo only does one line, but it hits pretty much rapid fire. I forgot what the... Oh, it's not even hitting me. I forgot what the cooldown is. Let's see... 30-second cooldown. Hits up to 10 enemies, but it lasts 8 seconds. And then we have Sharp Eyes, which gives you and your party 20% crit rate and 15% crit damage. Maple Warrior gives you, or you and your party, 15% all stats. Hero's Will cures you of abnormal status and leaves you immune to abnormal status for 3 seconds. Passive. Another passive. Another passive, which just increases final attacks proc chance, as well as the damage it does. Another one. So many passives. And the final passive. Alright, so moving on to hyper passives. We have... I pretty much didn't... I mean, you don't really need attack speed, because you're going to be using this skill most of the time, which isn't affected by attack speed. But what I did was I increased the attack power you get by 5%. I'm not too sure how to do these hyper passives, but this is just how I did it. The another bite damage, I increased it by 10%. I didn't put into any of the other ones. The cooldown minus 10% would only make Swipe's cooldown reduced by 0.5 seconds, so half a second. And the Sonic Roar would only be decreased by like 0.6 seconds, so I didn't really think it was going to be too useful. You can let me know in the comments if you disagree. For the main attack, Wild Arrow Blast, I increased the damage, the boss damage, and the defense ignored. For the active hypers, we have Silent Rampage, which increases your damage by 40%, and it makes final attack have a 100% chance to activate. Jaguar Rampage. Oh, actually, this one will change depending on if you're summoning the Jaguar or riding it. So if you're summoning it, it makes the Jaguar do this like big swirly attack, like that, which will, as you saw, do a lot of damage, and also have a 100% chance to activate another bite, or to put another bite stack on the enemy. And then when you're riding the Jaguar, it becomes Exploding Arrows, which is a good AoE attack. So you can use it in the air, you can just use it on the ground, but basically it'll just attack a large amount of enemies in your area, and stun them. And then at level 200, you get For Liberty, which gives you and any other resistance demon or Xenon in your party 10% damage, which also stacks. And that's about it for their skills. Let's move on to the mobbing. So, Wild Hunter mobbing, pretty simple. You basically just want to run around using the main attack. And, I mean, you can also... Oops. Why can't I make it up there? There we go. So you can also put down summons, just to, you know, block those platforms. And then just run around using well, arrow thing. Of course, using the 170 hyper whenever you want. Not really whenever you want. It has a short cooldown of like, what, 12 seconds, 15 seconds? 14 seconds. Wow, I was wrong on both. So with that, I think I can show the bossing. Actually, let me do this. There we go. Alright, so yeah, let's go to the bossing. So when bossing on a Wild Hunter, what I like to do is activate the 150 hyper, and then just use any of the attacks that I see will hit the enemy. From the Jaguar, of course. Because you're just going to be holding down the main attack, while you also press the Jaguar attacks. So let me go ahead and bind him. So now I can press, you know, Swipe. I can press Sonic Roar. the 170 hyper, and just maintain the 3 stacks of another bite by constantly allowing your Jaguar to attack. Because you want to make sure that another bite is always doing 3 lines of damage. And that's pretty much how I boss on a Wild Hunter. So something I forgot to mention, it's a minor detail, and it's not even that important. You do more damage, and you attack farther when you are off the Jaguar. When you're on the Jaguar, of course you have more lines, but you don't attack as far, but you do, you know, more lines, so it makes up for it. So yeah, you can see the difference in how far it goes, like right there, and then it's really not that much of a difference. It's just a little bit farther. Or to make it a little more clear, I don't really know why I'm showing this. It's really not that important. But yeah, as you can see, it's like going to the edge of, like, right here. And then when you're on the Jaguar, it goes a little bit before that. Just a little bit. Like, I don't really know why they make mention of it, but anyway. I think that's it for the video. So yeah, see you in the next one, and hope you enjoyed.